Hey, Catalyst crew. Welcome to Catalyst Corner, episode 114. I'm Evan.
I'm Jim.
And we've got a lot to talk about today. We've got some movies. We're going to talk about the theme park wars. We're going to talk about, some of the latest Marvel TV shows. And we got a little something at the end if we have time for it. We'll see. How you doing, Jim?
I'm hanging in there. So, I didn't just tell you this because we were talking business before we got on. I almost killed somebody on the way here.
All right.
So, I'm going down the road.
I'm
on the main road, right?
Yeah.
So, there's a side road, right? There's two motorcycles on the side road, right?
Yeah.
And they're looking to take a left.
Yeah.
Now, I'm on the main road going straight. So, a car that's in front of me wants to pull over and take that left, right? Now, again, I'm in the main road, so I'm going to go around that car to keep going straight. I've got the right of way, right? The motorcycles decided, no, I'm going to go out as that person's turning. I'm going to go out and I'm going to play chicken. So there's a guy and a girl. The guy sped up and he made it. The girl, an inch from my vehicle.
Oh, my God.
I almost ran her over.
Wow.
And, the thing is, I would have felt sad for a second for the guy who had to come back and pick up his wife off the ground with a spatula. But, if you want to do something stupid like that,
fuck around and find out.
Again, you're on a motorcycle, I'm in a car. That's not really a good challenge for you. But again, if you're going to do something stupid, again, you're the one who's going to lose. Even if you had the right of way, doing something stupid on a motorcycle, you put yourself in danger. But when you disobey the rules of the road, and again, I wasn't going all that fast, but probably if I hit her, she's going to go under my wheels and more than likely that'd have been it. So that was an interesting trip over here.
It's funny that you say that because I was I was telling you earlier, I picked up a new stand for the lighters, right? And I was pulled over and I'm putting the thing in the car, right? And it's one of those roads, so it's got two lanes, it's a one-way. And there was some traffic and the cars are, there are two cars in front of me. There's a car that's kind of like gone around me, and then there's some cars behind him, right? So I get everything loaded up, and I get in my car, and I turn my car on, put it in drive. So the guy who's kind of around me, he goes, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna go.
Yeah.
It's an extra second.
Sure.
Right? So I start driving, and I'm taking a left. I'm not even going straight. The dude behind me slams on his acceleration to try to cut me off, but there's no way he's going to get in front of me.
Right.
So I'm already in front of him. So he drives into the wrong lane to go straight, and then I'm turning, and I'm like, bro, that saved you literally. Even if you didn't accelerate, that would have added 0 time to your trip.
Right.
I'm not even going in the same direction that you're going in.
Right.
And what you did was you just wasted gas to show that you were aggravated that I was pulling out.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going on with the aggressiveness of drivers right now. It's interesting. I don't know if it's the heat, if it's the, the cultural climate, everybody wants to kill each other.
And I think sometimes just people that, want to think that they can save an extra second or two, I don't have time to wait. Well, you do, because if your life gets in danger, but you do have time to wait.
You're not on the highway either, where it's okay, if you cut the guy off, maybe you can go faster and you'll save 2 minutes or whatever.
Right.
It's you're on a residential road, you sped up. I'm not even going the right way as you, so I'm already turned by the time you get to your destination. And what? You're behind traffic anyway.
Right, exactly.
It's just, it's bizarre.
Yeah, that serves no purpose. Yeah, it's crazy out there.
Be safe, everybody.
Yeah, exactly.
Don't run over any motorcycles.
No, please don't.
Don't piss off any black Infiniti drivers.
Right.
He's driving an Infiniti. I'm just what are you fucking?
Come
who's
on.
driving that? Get out of here.
Get out of here with
Pack
that.
it up. have you seen anything?
Yeah. So before we get on again, we were just talking about Jaws, right? So I watched Jaws, the 50th anniversary
50th
that came out. Did you see it?
What, Jaws?
No, just the 50th anniversary.
No, I don't care anymore.
No, so I wanted to see it only, again,
Did they do anything special?
Well, let me get to it.
Oh, all right. Well,
So,
I didn't know if,
no.
you're asking me, did I see it?
Well,
Is there something?
No, only because, again, me and my partner liked the movie, right?
Yeah, it's a good movie.
But the thing is that they said, Steven Spielberg is going to speak before it, right, and talk about the movie.
Yeah.
So I'm like, okay, maybe we'll get some cool insight, whatever. He was on for like 5 minutes, said nothing that you didn't know. Then the movie played, and that was it, right? There was no added behind the scenes. There was no maybe deleted footage. There was like just a couple minutes of Steven Spielberg talking about, hey, we didn't maybe know this movie was going to get made, and we had no idea that it was going to
be every interview he's ever given about Jaws.
It's like, okay, cool. That was what you did for the 50th anniversary. You just played it on linear TV, I guess.
Here's the thing. It's not his best movie.
No, but I mean, again, it's turning 50. Cool, all right.
Yeah,
you know what
cool.
I mean? Like,
it's
cool that it still has any type of cultural impact 50 years later. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
so
I think it's
cool
definitely
on that.
I was telling you about this earlier. I think it's lost a lot of.
Yeah, it's not what it was, but still, there is still some impact to it. You know what I mean? Especially my generation, who still looks upon it fondly as a movie that you saw when you were young, and it did kind of make you weary about going into the water, right? I mean...
And sure, and here's the thing, the way I feel about it is, it's probably not something I would actively watch at this point.
Sure.
But if I found myself watching it, there are I'm not going to be miserable watching. You know what I mean? It's a good movie. It's 50 years old, so it looks like an older movie.
Sure.
So it's not, it's not.
Yeah, it's of its time for sure.
So I mean, I think that's why I wasn't like, I'm going to watch the 50th anniversary. I'm like, because really, what more can you say? There's been, hours and hours of interviews from Steven Spielberg and the cast and the crew.
Right.
I'm like, there's no way he's going to fucking get up here and be able to...
No, I was just hoping for something that we hadn't seen, right? Make it special, right? And it wasn't. It just, they played the movie.
Well, there's nothing.
No, but I was hoping that maybe there was something that they were going to, spring on us. But unfortunately, they just played the movie, so whatever. But, I saw this movie. You ever heard of the movie or seen the movie The Coffee Table?
No.
Let me get into this one.
Okay. Well, how did you find it, first of all?
So I'm just looking for movies on demand.
Yeah.
I come across it. It's from this year, right?
Oh, okay.
And it was free, and it rated out pretty well.
Okay.
So I'm like, I say to my partner, we're always looking for a horror movie to watch, right? It was listed under horror, so it's like, let's give it a shot. I don't even know what to make of this fucking movie.
Really?
Right? I don't know what to make. Now, we went back afterwards and looked at it, and people are saying it was supposed to be like a comedy. And I'm like, there was no comedic elements to it at all, like the black comedy, right? And I'm I don't get, it wasn't horror and it wasn't comedy. It was like drama or, suspense or thriller, but I couldn't even begin to so it's in Spanish, right? So there is subtitles to it, okay? And the thing is, there's a guy and his wife, and she looks a little bit older than him, right? And they have a baby, right? So she didn't think she was going to be able to have a baby. Ends up that she was able to have a baby, even though the guy didn't want one. They have, she got pregnant. They have a baby. And they're moving into a house, right? An apartment. And she picks out everything, and the only thing he wanted to pick was a coffee table.
Okay.
So they're at this, furniture store, and there's a really ugly glass top coffee table, right? And he, for whatever reason, wants it.
Yeah, he loves it. It speaks to him.
Right. So I'm thinking, based upon the title and based upon, reading what it's about, like this coffee table is like demonic or something supernatural, right? Like something happens where it possesses them, whatever the case might be. So he's putting the coffee table together. It gets delivered. It's missing a screw. So the coffee table. So the guy who sold it to him said, "Oh, this glass indestructible, can't be broken." But he's putting it on, and there's a screw missing, and so it's a little wobbly. So he calls the guy. He says, "Hey, I just bought this. I need that. Bring me that screw." Guy's like, "Okay, I'll come over to your address and I'll bring you that screw." So the guy's brother and girlfriend are coming over for dinner. So the wife is like, "Hey, I'm gonna go shopping for the food for the dinner. I need a little time away from the kid. You watch the kid, and I'm gonna go do the shopping." So she's out doing the shopping. He's watching the kid, and all of a sudden, the kid's crying. Right? He's holding the kid, can't console it. And all of a sudden, you hear a crash of glass, right? Well, somehow he dropped the baby or placed the baby down and the glass. So the coffee table kills the baby.
Wow.
Right? Cuts the baby's head off.
Wow.
Right? Baby's head rolls under the chair in the living room. So he doesn't know what the fuck to do. He's freaking out, right? So he picks the baby up, swaddles the baby. Now he's covered in blood, puts the baby in the crib. The wife comes home. She's like, "Oh, I want to see the kid, blah, blah, blah." He's like, No. I finally got him down sleeping. Please don't bother him. I'll take care of it, right? So she's like, "Okay, give it a couple hours. Don't bother him." So in the meantime, the guy comes over. Before she gets home, the guy comes over, gives him the screw. He's like, "Hey, I thought you said this was unbreakable." "Well, it's unbreakable if you had all the screws, but if you don't..."
The screw makes it unbreakable.
The screw makes it unbreakable.
Oh.
Okay, all right, whatever. So the brother and the girlfriend come over. They're having dinner, what have you. And he can't, he's just so distraught. He can barely keep it together. So he tells the brother what happened. Brother's like, "Okay, we're fucked. This is a real bad situation." So there's a girl, and I'm kind of jumping around, but there's a couple that lives as well, a mother and a 13-year-old daughter. And the 13-year-old daughter is trying to blackmail him because she's in love with him, and so she's kind of blackmailing him, like, "Hey, you better leave your wife. If you don't, I'm going to tell her that we're in love and there's something going on." He's like, "Get fucked. Like nothing's going on."
Right.
So she's like, "I'm going to come over like around at 4:00, and if you better have told your wife, because if you haven't, I'm going to tell her." He's like, "Yeah, whatever." So as the brother's trying to figure out what the hell to do, the little girl comes over with her dog, and the dog finds the head under the fucking chair, pulls it out, right? And now all of a sudden everybody's freaking out. So the wife takes the baby with the head, and she jumps out the window and kills herself.
Oh, my.
And the husband jumps out and kills himself following her. And the movie ends with, the brother and his girlfriend, like, in shock in a police car. And, like, they show them, like, together as a family. And this is how the thing ended. And I'm like, I don't understand what the fuck just happened. Like, So
it doesn't sound like a comedy.
No, but but like there's so many plot devices that meant nothing. Like at the end of the day, the only reason why the little girl existed was to bring her dog there to find the head, right?
Yeah,
like that's all that ended up happening for that. And then, like I said, the coffee table, it killed the kid, but that was that was the premise of it. Just the glass of the coffee table somehow, because you don't see it because it happens off camera. Somehow the kid gets killed by the coffee table and beheaded. And then the coffee table, I guess because it was the only thing this guy wanted, because now the kid is dead, these two people decided they can't live anymore and they just commit suicide. And I'm like, I don't even understand what the fuck I just watched. Like, I don't even understand what this movie was supposed to be, why it even exists.
Yeah, that's a weird one.
Yeah, so I don't recommend it at all. But if anybody has seen it, if I'm missing something and you've seen it and you know what I'm missing, please in the comments let me know. But I don't. The only good thing about the movie, it was nice and tight. It was like an hour and a half. So
yeah, that's good. That's what you
that
want.
was about the only. That was about the only thing I could say. At the end of it, I'm like, yeah, well, at least I didn't waste 2.5 hours on this shit. Like it I don't know. I can't even begin to tell you why this movie was even made. Like, I don't even know why anybody would have thought this was a good idea. But that's what I ended up catching.
Jeez.
So what about you?
So I caught 3.
Oh, okay.
So I'll do them in order of
sure.
Worst to best.
Mm-hmm.
So I watched Final Destination Bloodlines.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Rates out very high.
Yeah.
Didn't like it.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing, is that I just expected more from what it was.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean, we ended up watching all the other Final Destinations, and like the first one's good. I think, in my opinion, the second one is the best one with the logs and everything.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one everyone remembers.
Sure.
The fourth one was pretty bad. The third one was so-so. This one had some interesting kills and stuff, but I guess where it kind of lost me is the story just kind of bogged it down. Like, they're trying to inject more sort of lore into it than it just being like, well, you had a vision, now death's coming after you, and we're gonna watch some gory kills. Now it's this whole thing of it's trying to connect to the first movie, and we made it off this flight or whatever, and we all had families, and all these families shouldn't even exist, so now it's coming after all the families, and like to me that just added an unnecessary element to it.
Sure.
The kills were fine. Just definitely, I mean, I don't think it's as good as it rates out. Like, it rates out very high, and I don't think it's anywhere near where it rates out.
That's disappointing.
So, yeah, I mean, if you just want to watch some gory kills, like,
Who doesn't?
give it a shot, but not the best Final Destination.
Yeah.
I mean, the way people were touting this is it's the best Final Destination in the series, and I just don't think it is. They had Tony Todd in it.
Right.
Last appearance.
Yep.
Dude looked terrible.
Yeah.
Like, you could tell he was on the way out, even there. But good to see him.
Right.
They did an in memory of at the end, which was nice. The second one I watched was The Phoenician Scheme.
Okay.
Which is Wes Anderson's new movie.
Oh, yeah.
And I enjoyed it. It's good.
Okay.
It's good. But it's a Wes Anderson movie. Like, there's nothing new. There's no innovation. Like, if you like Wes Anderson aesthetic, if you like Wes Anderson pacing, if you like Wes Anderson's humor, it's going to hit on all of those points.
I was going to say, when I saw the commercials for it, it's like, that just looks like every other movie that he's ever put out.
Right, and it is. And it is. Like, his formula is so locked in.
Right.
Like, and again, it's fine. It's fun. It's an interesting enough story. It's quirky. It's blah, blah, blah. I think if you want to sit for the hour 45, you'll do good. And again, the things you love about Wes Anderson, his cinematography, all the patterns, the attention to detail, it's all there. Benicio del Toro's great.
Okay.
But again, it just... It's weird because I enjoyed it, but I wasn't like when I saw Grand Budapest Hotel, I loved that. That blew me out of the water.
Yeah.
And I didn't feel that way with this. I was just like, okay, this is just another, solid A+ Wes Anderson movie.
Sure.
But it's not, I don't know that it's like an Oscar. You know what I mean? We've seen it.
Right.
Like we've seen this pony show before.
Right.
And then the third one that I fucking loved is Sinners.
Oh, I'm gonna watch that. I think maybe this weekend.
Yeah. So I caught Sinners.
Nice.
And it is fantastic.
Good.
Yeah. It's very interesting. I would say it's very much like a 3-part movie. So like the first half is kind of this Depression era movie. Then the middle of it is sort of the meat and potatoes of the horror and everything, and then your end is sort of the conclusion. And very interesting. Very very interesting what they do with sort of music and the power of culture and music and things like that.
Nice.
Michael B. Jordan is fucking on point.
Good.
I mean,
good.
It is a great, and again, it's long. It's 2 hours, but it's a great. I really enjoyed it. I mean, I think it's definitely one of those ones that you got to go in sort of with an open mind.
Right.
There are sort of these ethereal moments because they're really trying to, impress upon the audience how important music and culture is to the community and everything like that. And as long as you're good with all of that, I think you'll have fun.
Oh, good.
It's good. It's really really
I'm
good.
Looking forward to it.
Very very well done. It's not. Is it the best horror flick? I don't know. It's up there this year. I mean, it's one of the better ones I've seen this year.
Probably is. For horror alone, probably is one of the best so far.
Yeah, and I mean, Michael B. Jordan, dude's a fucking gem. Like, he is just, he plays twins in this.
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
So which is kind of interesting to kind of see the
oh, okay, nice
duality of the twins.
Yeah.
And, just a really, really good movie.
Awesome. Before we move on, speaking of movies, though, did you hear about the new Eggers? What he has lined up next?
Heard. Well, I know he. So I don't know. I had heard after Nosferatu came out that he was making a werewolf movie. Now I don't know if that's still the plan. Why? What did you hear? What's going on? What did I miss?
A Christmas Carol.
No fucking way. Really?
Defoe is Scrooge.
No way.
Oh.
Sign me up. I'll go.
I'll
take
my money now.
Yeah.
That's
100%.
That's what is slated to be coming soon.
Wow. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Fucking great. Perfect. If anyone can do a Christmas Carol, Christmas Carol's been done to death, right?
Sure.
If anyone can do something that has a fresh take on a Christmas Carol, it's Edgar's.
I think if you'll really lean into the horror element of it.
Oh, yeah.
I would assume. I just think that even thinking about that possibility, just like
yeah, that could be fantastic.
Day.
I could get into that. Yeah, wow, that would be great.
Yeah, that
would be really really great.
Yeah. Anyway,
so. Before we get into the theme park wars, which is what I want to talk about, let's talk about kind of some of the stuff that's going on right now.
Sure.
So we had Thunderbolts came and went.
Yep.
And that was from. I haven't seen it yet. I'm gonna.
No, nor have I.
I'm gonna try to watch it if I can get a copy or whatever. I hear it's not bad.
Yeah.
Commercially, failure. Fantastic Four, I'm not hearing good things.
No.
Well, I don't know what the plan is with the reshoots and everything, but now they're saying that Mr. Fantastic is the main character of Doomsday. So again, like you know, okay, like I don't know how. I guess where I get kind of lost in it is how can Doomsday, if Fantastic Four is not good, how can Doomsday be good if your main character is from a movie that sucks?
Well, see, and that's the problem, because your Feige, and this goes back to why I think Feige should have been fired a long time ago. My personal opinion. You're assuming that this is back, 5 years ago or so when everything hit, right? So you can say, well, Fantastic Four is about to come out. That's going to be $1 billion. And so I can now take that character and move him to my next $2 billion movie, which is Doomsday, because it's all going to hit. It doesn't do that anymore. Everything fails, but Feige is still trying to say, like,
he's still using
he's the mentality of, right, that, Fantastic Four is going to be a big success, and then and it's like, no, you can't continue to write these characters that are failing and continue to move it forward.
Another part of my confusion is, so a lot of the leaks that I'm hearing is it's really like Sue Storm is the one that kind of she's the main character of Fantastic Four. So how does Mr. Fantastic become the main character of the bigger overarching plot if Sue is really the main character of Fantastic? Like, I just don't understand what they're doing. Like, it almost feels like a cop-out to Sue, because it's like, yeah, we'll give her the lesser movie and then put Mr. Fantastic in the movie that has more weight, and it's just like, what are you fucking doing? Right? Either she's the main character or he is. Pick who the main fucking character is.
Yeah, and I don't think that there's not enough creativity in the room anymore to really plot that out. But
it feels like a cop out to me.
Right, but here again, I think it goes back to, look, the Russos came, they did, the Infinity War saga, right? And then they were gone. And then you lured them back with a tremendous amount of money, right? But the one thing that they did when they were here, right, originally with Infinity, is they said, yeah, I don't care if you want Captain Marvel to be the big savior of this. We don't, therefore it will not. I'm begrudgingly going to even have her in this movie, which I didn't even want to begin with. But, you're kind of forcing my hand, so I'm going to give her a small role, but under no circumstances is she going to be the savior. And I think that because they're going to be in charge of Doomsday, it's the same thing. You want Sue Storm to be the hero of Fantastic Four, that's fine. But when we get to Doomsday, that ain't going to happen with our movie. So I don't know what, you may want to rethink it or you don't, but it's not going to match.
The thing that bothers me about the Sue Storm thing is that she's always been super important. Like, she's always been the glue that keeps everything together, right? Which to me is, in a lot of ways, even more important than maybe being, the quote unquote main character or leader or anything, because she's always kept Reed, from becoming Doom. There's always been that anchor that she's provided.
Reed has always been like one step over the line to being the villain.
Right. But the thing that always holds him back is Sue.
Right.
So like her role is so important, and if you reverse her role into making her, sort of the leader or whatever, then you're going to lose what makes Reed Richards Reed Richards, and that element of danger of, oh, if he didn't have Sue, he would just be doomed.
Right, but the thing is that Reed is the savior because of the intellect, right? And not that Sue isn't extremely intelligent, but the thing is that
Reed is one of the smartest characters in the universe.
But what happens is Reed could easily be the villain, but Sue makes him remain the hero, and because of that, that's why Reed can always get them out triumphantly, because he's always going to, because he, she makes him focus in the super heroic way.
Important to the story in that regard.
Right, and she holds the glue of all of them,
of the family together.
And Human Torch.
To me, maybe that's not quote unquote as glamorous as being, the Reed Richards or whatever.
Yeah.
But it's as, if not more important than any other role in the group. And if they wanted to go down that route and focus on how important she is to the Fantastic Four, I'm all for that.
Yeah.
Because again, it all falls apart without Sue.
Right. Well, see, I mean, the thing is, Reed is the gun, and Sue points the gun.
Right.
But ultimately, Reed makes the kill because he's the weapon.
Right.
But you have to have the person pointing the gun in the right direction in order to make that happen. So, again, that's her importance is making sure they're focused in the right direction to be successful. Because without that, the bad guy will win every single time.
Right. And to me, that is so much more important than just being like, oh, I'm the main guy.
Right.
Like, it's just, and I think what ends up happening is because Disney has chose to go the route that they've gone, like a lot of those stories lose that.
Mm-hmm.
Lose the fact that if Sue wasn't Sue, none of this would work.
Right.
Like that's what I think the conversation needs to be around, is that no one is discounting how important Sue is.
Right.
Like, she's keeping everything together. She focuses Reed. She stops him from going that extra step and becoming, a monster. But and again, we'll have to see what they do with the movie. Like, I don't want to make the assumption.
Sure.
But if they turn her just into the, another fucking, I hate to say girl boss, but if they do that, then I don't understand, like, why even have Reed? What's even the point of Reed? You know what I mean? It's like, if she's the one with all the powers and she's the glue, then the fuck is Reed even doing there?
Right, and that's not what she is. She's not the guy. She's a important piece of the team.
Right, the guy
but
doesn't
she's not
exist.
the
But the guy
doesn't.
He's not the guy without her.
Right, and that's what makes it all work.
Right, and that to me is just like, how can you discount, how can you want to morph her role when it's so important to the story? Because without her, he's not the guy.
Right. Yeah, and that's where Feige's shortcomings come in, because he's so intent on wanting to make girl boss after girl boss. Again, and we've talked about this before, Feige had that mandate in phases 4 and 5, 50% female. All, as diverse as it can possibly be, and 50% of the heroes are going to be female. And he carried that through. And it couldn't have failed more spectacularly, not just because, but in order to do that,
but part of it is, again, a lot of these characters that they're pushing, to be main characters had vital roles in a lot of stories, and because they're changing the character, those roles are kind of being left by the wayside, because you can't be the glue and holding everything together and keeping Reed or whoever on the right track and be the main character. It's just not how it works.
Right, and the other part of that is that in order to make your vision happen, you have to promote C and D level characters to A level characters, and that is not going to work. You can't just say they are because you want them to be. They aren't. So you took supporting characters to try to make them main characters, and that was never going to work. But because you had a mandate, because you couldn't have it where the men were the bigger star, you had to then make these characters into what they aren't, and that was never going to work. It was never going to be accepted, and you lose the hero's journey. You change the character up completely, and you make them insufferable. And every one of them comes off as insufferable. And it's like, again, they don't need to be, because if you kept them where they're supposed to be and kept the stories as to being more true to the comics, they would be accepted for what they are and they would be cherished. But you've turned them into something they're not, and fans have wholeheartedly rejected that. So now what do you have? You have virtually nothing. You've just finished Phase 5, and you have nothing to show out of Phase 4 and Phase 5. You've got nothing to show for it.
There's no like standout hits.
No.
Like, nobody is sitting there going like, oh, remember this Marvel movie?
Yeah.
No.
You could wipe out Phase 4 and 5 right now, and it would not matter. There would be nobody that would care. There would be nothing. You could get a few... You're going to get a few Disney and Marvel shills that are going to shill on about anything anyway, but the majority of it, people would be like, yeah, I don't care if you decanonize all that. Wouldn't make one iota of difference.
No. And I mean, we're seeing it now too with Ironheart.
Right.
So again, it didn't do well in the comics anyway, right?
No.
And you want to try to bring something that failed in one medium to a different medium. Okay. Fine, whatever. It could have worked. You could have made it work, but
maybe.
But instead of her just being smart, right? With the MIT and everything, they have to do this stereotypical thing where she has to steal all of the stuff she needs and start taking shots at Tony Stark.
Right.
So instead of just being like, yeah, she's super smart, she has this tech available, kind of like Peter Parker did when he was Spider-Man, right? Like, Iron Man took an interest to him, so he's not stealing the fucking technology.
Right.
It's available to him. Mm-hmm. Instead of doing that for her, you have to play off of this stereotypical, she's got to fight for every single thing she gets.
But here's the other thing, too. You made it a point to say how smart she was at every given turn.
Right.
Guess what? As a fan, we can figure that out ourselves. We don't need to be told how smart she is by every person she encounters tells her how great she is. And the reason why she's stealing is because I'm so great, yet nobody gives me what I deserve. Therefore, I'm going to steal because no one's giving me my greatness. So I'm going to steal in order to make everybody acknowledge me. Like, that's your hero's journey, is forcing people to acknowledge how great and intelligent you are, so because people don't.
So, all you have to do is say, yeah, people acknowledge that she's great, and as a result, she has technology available to her because they know what she can do with it. It doesn't have to be this fucking thing where, everyone is telling you how great you are, yet there's no resources available. Like, that's fucking ridiculous.
Right. You're at MIT, so at one point you had resources available to you. And I'm sorry, again, if you're attending MIT, guess what? We know you're smart. Because, again, not just because we know MIT being a local college to us, people around,
the world know MIT.
Right.
Yeah, it's a global school. But go even a step further. Like she linked up with Wakanda. Like she should have resources available to her, right?
So how doesn't But
right,
but there again,
she? Right. So that's what I'm saying.
You interned at Wakanda.
But what I'm saying is that you're artificially putting this stereotype in where she doesn't have resources of it. Like, why?
Right.
How does she not have resources of it? Why can't she get, like, some adamantium or something? Like, there's no fucking reason for her not to have resources.
Which is why the story was so bad.
But the only reason she doesn't have resources is so she can steal the resources.
Right.
Like, that to me doesn't make sense. Like, everyone is telling you how great you are. You've been acknowledged by, the superhero authorities, right? There's no situation where you have to steal anything.
Right, but this is where you followed the comic, but you already bastardized the lore. Because in the comic, she wasn't an intern at Wakanda who has the greatest technology in the entire world.
Right.
So she had to steal based upon not having any resources available.
Right, but
once you added Wakanda, you
right,
can't tell that story.
You already showed us that she has a relationship with them. She built a suit.
Right.
For one of the chief members. So it's just like, I don't understand, why are they abandoning her?
Right. It would have been the same thing, again, when Tony Stark took an interest in Spider-Man, all of a sudden the resources were available. Once she got that internship at Wakanda, all the resources she ever needed was available to her.
So
to say that all of a sudden she's got nothing and no one would... Well, again, you were just an intern at the most technological place on the planet.
Right.
So, but you're saying that no one knows how smart you are?
Pick up a fucking phone.
Right.
Right? Like,
exactly.
Hey, like, this is what I'm trying to do. Like, can you help me out?
Yeah, you would have had that anything you needed for resources delivered to your door the next day.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Like, and they owe you one too.
Right.
If Phase 4 is to be believed, right? They owe you one. You showed up for battle. You helped fight the fucking battle.
Yeah.
Like, they're gonna just leave you out to dry?
Of course they wouldn't. And let me tell you something else. Right. Tony Stark is dead. Right. Did anybody ever say Stark Technologies is dead? You know what I mean? Like, you don't think that anybody that, or, it doesn't even have to be Stark Technologies, but anybody that's still in that game, Hammer Industries, whomever, would not
pick her up.
Right. Would not be there to assist in that regard. So, again, it's a very... Telling it the way you told it is so nonsensical.
Right. That's probably the biggest problem I have, with the overarching story of Ironheart. It's just more so that you've already established the character, right? She's already made relationships. This is not like a Miss Marvel situation where she didn't have anybody.
Right.
But, it does allow her to play that role of I have these I have challenges that Tony Stark couldn't even imagine type of bullshit, right? And then of course that bullshit line of would Tony Stark be would Tony Stark be Tony Stark if he wasn't a billionaire? It's like, yep. Tony Stark literally built an arc reactor in a fucking cave and an Iron Man suit, like, with shrapnel in his heart. Like, he was a smart guy. Like, the guy who literally sacrificed his life for half of the population of that guy?
Yeah, I mean, again, look at it real world. Are we going to say, well, Steve Jobs wouldn't have become Steve Jobs, or Elon Musk, or Mark Zuckerberg? Like, no, these guys would become who they became because their intelligence would have been brought to somebody's attention who would have given them the resources needed to be successful.
I guess the point is, right, with Tony Stark, right, the first 30 minutes of Iron Man establishes that, like, even if you take away all of his resources and put him in a cave, he's going to be able to make something insane. So we've already established that Tony doesn't, even without the money, he'll find a way.
Right.
Right? But going even further with that, Tony Stark sacrificed his life to stop Thanos.
Right.
Like, this isn't some asshole off the fucking street. Like, This is the savior of humanity. Yeah. Like, why are you shit? Like, there's nobody wants to shit on Tony Like, nobody wants to shit on Tony Stark.
No, and there's no reason for it. There is no good reason why you would. But the thing is that if you regardless of whether he had money, you cannot buy genius, right? Tony Stark was a genius. You go back and watch those Iron Man movies, and you can see, as he's growing up, all the things he achieved through his youth, right? All the technological advancements and all the creations and things like that. Well, again, even if his family didn't have money, he would have found grants and he would have gotten scholarships. All of that stuff would have still happened because of the intelligence level. You were at MIT. You had the ability. You chose to be the one that got in trouble and got kicked out of MIT, but you were at a place where they would acknowledge your genius because you're there, and you would have had the resources available to you because the school would have made sure that you had the necessary funds to do the things that you were looking to do through grants and things like that, and I'm sure school sponsors and things like that. All of that. But again, you also had an internship in Wakanda, and so none of what you say makes any sense.
Right, and then the other half of it is, again, like, can you buy the suits and blah blah blah? Sure, with the money, but you can't buy character either. Like, no. He sacrificed his life. Like, it doesn't matter how many billions of dollars you have. Like, the dude snapped.
Right.
He made he did the snap to stop Thanos.
Yeah.
So, like, what are we shitting on this guy? Like, what did he do?
Right. Yeah, it made zero sense. It didn't help the plot whatsoever by doing that. But on the real life situation of Robert Downey Jr., has it been more apparent that Robert Downey Jr. has no cachet whatsoever, right?
I think it's very hard to do a Marvel movie and then do anything else.
Well, no, but what I mean is, you had the reveal that he was going to be Doom, right?
Yeah.
And that was met with just as much people that hated it as liked it.
Right.
Then you did the chair reveal for Doomsday with him at the end of it, and that didn't go over well at all with anybody. And almost it's never talked about. No one even gives a shit about it. And then he went on Good Morning America to support this show, and this show bombed epically. So, I'm just saying, Robert Downey Jr. doesn't have any sway. Like,
I don't think anybody thought RDJ has had any sway.
Well, then why would you pay him $1 million to go on Good Morning America to promote this show?
Well, I think inside of the Marvel universe.
No, because you thought that by him endorsing it, that people would flock to go see it, and people, and again.
Yeah, but that goes back to the celebrities don't have the weight that they had.
But this is my thing. Tony Stark, a lot of weight. Robert Downey Jr., 0 weight. Like, there is... differentiate. Understand. People care about Tony Stark.
Right. I think
not Robert Downey Jr.
I think the audience makes that pretty clear, though.
Right.
I mean, like, who cares what RDJ endorses?
But you paid him $1 million to go endorse this show, and this show is going to go down as one of the lowest rated Disney Plus shows that you've released. And again, it just understand that Marvel as an entity is dead. Like, the MCU is dead. It's not, it's not without the ability to be resuscitated, but for all intents and purposes, it's virtually dead. And you're not going, right now, there's nothing you're doing that really is going to truly be successful. You're going to get some, maybe word of mouth, like Thunderbolts. Okay, it wasn't despised, but the the financials show that it was.
Yeah, Thunderbolts might find some life, like on streaming.
Right.
It might.
But again, you're when you're looking at box office, this is flop after flop after flop. Again, we like Sam Wilson. We like him as Falcon. We don't like him as Captain America. So going forward as Captain America, you're going to have a problem with Sam Wilson. If you keep him as Falcon, you have no problem. So again, you're just going to make these decisions.
The biggest problem with the Sam Wilson thing is that after everything, after all of the shit that he went through in the TV show and everything, he's still doubting, and it's just like at some point you just have to be Captain America. Like you have to stop doubting whether or not you earned the shield. And I think people get tired of that because, look, that's what the whole fucking TV show was about. Was you doubting whether or not you were worthy?
Yeah,
and you got to get over that shit, dude. And if you don't, and you can't commit to Captain America, then no one's going to accept you as Captain America.
And then two other things. One is, you kept on, your thing is, oh, this isn't Tony Stark. This isn't Iron Man. This is somebody totally different. This isn't a mantle swap, blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden, oh, by the way, this is Obadiah Stane's son. Oh, just so not Iron Man. We're not redoing Iron Man. Just so happens we have a villain that happens to be the son of the villain of Tony Stark. Oh, okay.
Right.
But we're not Iron Man. We're not, trying to replace Iron Man. And then the worst of it all is, after 2 years of every single time something happens, people were hoping for Mephisto. You got Mephisto, and everybody was like, "Fuck! I wish that never happened." Like,
well, it's
that's
just
Mephisto.
It's just kind of a half-assed, like. The way they did it was just kind of half-assed.
Yeah, but
it wasn't like
it's like after 2 years of every single time something happened, you were calling for Mephisto. Then you finally get him, and it's like.
But here's the thing: is like, but you got him in a fucking TV show.
Right, and you didn't even get him to look like Mephisto. You had that little glimpse in the Spoon where you can see a little red guy, and that's the best you did. What we got is Borat. We got fucking Borat.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think his portrayal was particularly bad. Like, I wasn't like, Sacha Baron Cohen. Oh no, like he can do it.
No, but if he was somebody else, sure. But everybody wanted Mephisto, not.
I just think the way
Borat called him Mephisto.
I think the way they handled Mephisto was kind of lame.
It was awful. But what do you do? But now that you've done this. No one wants Mephisto.
Right, but it almost just kind of feels like a throw-in.
It was.
Right.
It was.
Like
because why does
it really has any plot?
Right. Again, if she's a genius and she now has built an Iron Man suit, why does she also need to make a deal with the devil on top of it?
I don't know.
You know what I mean? Like, you threw together you said, look, her story sucks. So let's take other people's stories and put them all together in a pot and stir it up.
You could have just saved Mephisto for Ghost Rider, and that would have been good. Like, but no.
Save him. You could have saved him for Secret Wars. You know what I mean? He could have been the big bad of, Secret Wars, where you're gonna close off the multiverse, right? And this is a multiversal character, right? So he could have been the person that you had to defeat to close the multiverse, and maybe that's still going to be the case. But you should have saved him for that. Now,
but here's the thing:
you can't.
This is the same thing that happened with Kang. Is I think when you introduce these characters in TV shows, for better or worse, it lessens the weight of the character.
Sure.
So it's like you wanted Kang to be the big bad, but you introduced him in Loki.
You could have introduced, when they did the statue, right? When they changed the statue from He Who Remains to Kang, that's all you needed to actually do.
Yeah, you didn't have to actually like throw him in there.
Right. You didn't have to have, because again, that portrayal was awful. Like, his acting was fucking awful. Jonathan Majors fucking sucks. But so you ruined the character and you lessened his impact at the same time. So that when Quantumania came around, people were like, get this fucking guy out of here. And then he was worse in Quantumania than he was in Loki.
Yeah, I think the thing of it is that the best way to utilize the TV would be to, treat it like they treated S.H.I.E.L.D. and treat it like they treated Daredevil, and not have sort of these bigger MCU moments happen in the TV shows. You can have the MCU can affect the TV shows, but the TV show should not be able to affect the MCU.
Right.
So what that allows you to do is you can tell street level stories like Daredevil and Punisher and Blade without having things like that bleed into the MCU. And then if you're going to have things bleed into the MCU, then, give Blade a movie instead of a TV show, and then you can have that shit bleed into the MCU. But it should never be this two-way street. You shouldn't have the events of the TV shows affecting what's going on in the MCU. And that's how it was up until Endgame. And then as soon as they finished Endgame, all of the events of the TV shows started affecting the events in the MCU. And that is a huge mistake, because people don't... Look, diehards are going to... Even if it was all great, even if it was all really, really good shit, right? Diehards will watch the shows.
Yeah.
But your regular movie-going person that's just going to see the Marvel movie of the summer isn't going to watch the TV shows. So you're asking too much of your audience to know who Kang is.
Right. But the thing, too, is, right, you can have Daredevil, Punisher, Iron Fist, right? Have all those street level like you did with Netflix, right? And then they can show up in the movies.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's and again, if you don't know who they are, that's on you, right? That's on you. Figure it out.
Right, but if they show up in the movies, it shouldn't be because of anything that happened in their TV shows.
But there should be nothing that bleeds over other than the character. Like, hey, here's Daredevil. I don't know what Daredevil's been doing, but he's here to help. Like, I know, hey, he helped me out, whatever, in a situation.
Yeah, but they did it perfectly with the Spider-Man, right? When they introduced Matt Murdock.
Right.
Like, he just showed up, he was there, and then he left.
Yeah.
Like, nothing he was doing on the
Netflix
shows mattered in that moment.
Right, exactly. And then
either you know about the Netflix shows and you're like, oh, this motherfucker, or you don't, and it's not that big of a deal.
But again, and we said this before, and I'll repeat it. I don't think it's homework to watch. If you're going to put out, say, two Disney Plus shows a year and 2 movies or 3 movies, I don't think that's homework. I don't think that's unreasonable. But I do think it's unreasonable that if you missed something or didn't want to see something, now you don't know what's happening. Like, you should be able to pick and choose what you want to watch.
It becomes homework when the TV shows affect the greater MCU.
Right. And if, again, if you want to put out Hawkeye Season 2, you can do that. But if I don't want to watch it, I shouldn't then all of a sudden be penalized when... I'm watching Doomsday and something is occurring that I didn't watch from the TV show. Because if you're forcing everybody to watch it, that's when people are not going to watch it. If you give them the choice that they can watch it or not, and it's not going to overly affect everything, then people are, then some people, even if they don't watch it, they're not going to be like, well, fuck it. If I didn't watch this, then I'm not going to go see this movie. Now I don't understand what's going on, so I'm not going to bother.
But it also allows you the freedom to kind of do whatever you want to do. But when you start crossing those streams, like now you've brought Mephisto into the universe, and that's it. That's your Mephisto now.
Right. And now, what do you do with him from there? Because now he exists. Things have occurred in this universe that he's a part of.
Right.
And so how does that manifest into a larger picture if that's what you're planning on doing? Just like all of this. You know what I mean? Like, at least with Kingpin, right? You've only kept him to the TV shows, right? So again, yes, he's in Hawkeye, but see, then he's in Echo, and then Daredevil.
The beauty of the beauty of the shows not affecting the MCU is that if you want to introduce Kingpin into the MCU as a big bad, you can do that. And then there's supplemental material you can watch, but it doesn't matter because because the way you need to approach it is when you introduce him into the MCU should be the audience's first introduction to him. Mm-hmm. And so if it's just because there's shit that's already there, like whatever, it's there, but that's what he was doing on the street level, which doesn't matter with the MCU.
Right. And conversely, you don't have to bring everything from Disney Plus into the movies. Like, they can exist simultaneously, but like Ironheart, from this point forward, never has to be seen in a movie again. No. Like, you don't have. But if you want to have an Ironheart season 2, which I don't know why you ever would, I'm just going to use that as an example because it was, so terrible that I can't see them being that stupid. But if you did, then okay, then Ironheart next appearance is in her own series, and she doesn't ever have to appear because there's no need for that character. That character isn't well received. No one cares enough about that character. But if you, for whatever reason, need to continue on with that character, then just keep it on Disney Plus.
Right, you have avenues where you can do it. Basically,
if you choose to do characters that aren't being successful, but you, for whatever reason, want to continue their story, then you keep it on Disney Plus. You don't have them cross over to the MCU. What they're doing doesn't impact the overall MCU. And, again, maybe down the line you meet up, and if you don't know who it is, you don't know who it is. And that's your first introduction, and you follow the story from there.
But it was like S.H.I.E.L.D. Like the agent would pop up in the movies, right? Mm-hmm. But it didn't affect the movies.
Right.
Like whatever he was doing on the street level never impacted what was going on in the movie. He might show up in the movie.
Yeah.
And it's just like, oh, this motherfucker. But it was never the shit that was going on the ground level was impacting what the Avengers was doing. It was never that.
No, and when Samuel L. Jackson's Nick Fury appeared on S.H.I.E.L.D., when he went back to the MCU, there was no impact to his appearance on S.H.I.E.L.D. because there wasn't a need to what I mean? He went on the show, was on that episode, and then there was no carryover.
Where they lost the plot was they started releasing big bads in the TV shows, and it's like this is not the place to release your MCU big bads.
No,
that's not where it belongs.
No, definitely not. Definitely not. And I don't mind a little bit of carryover. Like, hey, if your thought is, hey, you should watch everything that we put out, like, I understand that, and I'm not going to begrudge you for that, that line of thinking, but it should be minuscule. It should be very minimal of a carryover if you do it at all. Like, if you you can mention something. If like you did with the snap, right? The snap happened, and if you want to talk about on Hawkeye the snap, right? Again, there doesn't have to be carryover, but you can mention an event that occurred. Just like you talked about on S.H.I.E.L.D., you talked about the events of New York.
Right.
You don't have to go in detail.
I think events that happen in the MCU can most certainly impact the TV shows, but the TV show events should not impact the MCU.
No.
Because ultimately what that allows you to do is that allows you to keep your fan base in the movies, and then if you want more, it's there.
Right.
You don't have to have more, but if you want it, we got it for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they didn't go that route. They said, no. Kang's the next big bad, and we're introducing him in Loki. And if you want to know about Kang, you have to watch Loki.
Right. But you also introduced a lot of things that impacted the movies, and you had to know what happened in the TV show to understand why it's happening in the movie. And that should never be the case. Because now you are forcing people to watch TV shows, dedicating whatever it is, 8 hours, 10 hours, whatever it might be.
That to me is Feige's biggest sin.
Oh, absolutely it is.
Like you want to push whatever characters you want to push. No worries. Like whatever, man. Do whatever you want to do. You have control. Whatever. The biggest sin was instead of it being, we have more content if you want it. He in his hubris said, you got to watch this shit or you're missing out. And that to me was the biggest mistake that MCU. Like again, we had some fucking bad movies in the first half of the MCU. We had Thor: Dark World. Like we had bad movies.
Sure.
We had Iron Man 3. Like there were bad movies, and it's not a perfect set of movies.
No.
But it's still looked upon as the greatest time for Marvel because there was more good than bad. And you didn't have to watch Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which was the only TV show at the time, for any of it to make sense.
Right.
And they didn't do important plot points in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. that you would miss out at when you saw the next movie.
Yeah, and also, the movies were more self-contained. Yes, that's, you can have, Thanos show up at the end of a movie and say, okay, there's something big coming. But the majority of that movie is spent on that particular hero. You know what I mean? Like, you can have, like at the end of Incredible Hulk, right? You had what Tony Stark goes into the bar, talks to Thunderbolt Ross, right? And you set up the Avengers, right? So you can have that little teaser, but the movie was about Banner and the Hulk.
Right.
There was nothing else within that movie that you had to make where I got to include this, I got to include that. I mean, you had where, they had Captain America's shield at one point. You took that out because, again, you didn't need to have the reference to Captain America, right? You can have your teaser at the end to show what's coming in the next movie, just like when you did, the end of Infinity War, right? You hit the pager, you got the Captain Marvel symbol. Okay, next up is Captain Marvel, but you don't have to watch Infinity War to watch Captain Marvel. You know what I mean? Like these movies should be self-contained to the hero in their story arc, not the greater story arc, just their personal story arc. And then when you get to those team ups, that again, either you watched it or you didn't. That's entirely up to you.
Right. And I think another problem that Marvel's running into is every fucking movie feels like an Avengers movie.
Right. Yeah, because you try to now put so many heroes into every single movie, and you're trying to move 3 or 4 plot points at the same time, as opposed to you used to just do one. You used to just move that character along, and then the teaser would be what's coming next, and that would be your end credit scene. And again, people can watch if you don't want to watch the movie, but you want to be caught up, you watch the end credit scene, and now you know what's coming.
Right,
and that's it.
People would get excited about that,
right?
Because it was that little tease. It was the little drip feed that you would get, and like again, now it's just. I don't know. It all feels like a jumbled mess at this point.
It is.
But we'll see. We'll see what the reshoots with Fantastic Four did. And you know.
I mean, it's the start of Phase 6, so we'll see if it gets any better.
All right. Well, with that, let's put this one to bed. Jim, as always, thanks for coming on.
Absolutely.
What do you got going on?
Just working on the artwork. Just check out the socials every week. Drop by, check out some new artwork, leave a like, comment, please, if it rings your fancy.
Yeah, it does help. It does.
It's a
absolutely small
help.
thing for you guys. It actually really is a big thing for us.
Yeah, and it's very appreciative.
All right, guys. So that's 114 of the corner. You know where we're at. CatalystCrafting.com is the main website. Catalyst Creations NH is the Etsy store. We got the shop in the mall. But. What movies have you guys seen? I mean, have you seen The Coffee Table? Did you watch the 50th anniversary of Jaws? Did you think that Steven Spielberg did enough?
He did not.
Have you seen Final Destination's Bloodline? Do you think it's the best Final Destination? Did you watch The Phoenician Scheme? Is it Wes Anderson's best movie? Is it just more of the same? Like, what do you guys think about that? Is Sinners the best horror movie of 2025? And what are your thoughts about what's going on with Marvel? I mean, do you think that, Ironheart is the reboot that's going to bring everything back? Is it more of the same? Is it a dumpster fire? Let us know in the comments. All right, crew. We'll catch you on the next one.